National Fishermen and Pacific Marine Expo are proud supporters of the Galley Stories podcast, as we make similar efforts to highlight the people and topics that define commercial fishing. You can see what that looks like in print and online all year long, as well as every November in Seattle when this community comes together at PME. Check out nationalfisherman.com and pacificmarineexpo.com to learn more.
Hello and welcome to Galley Stories, stories of the Bering Sea and beyond, hosted by Mark Kaler. My name is Penka Jane, podcast deckhand and longtime listener. We'd thank you to subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. Here's today's catch.
Hello guys, and welcome back to another installment of Galley Stories, stories of the Bering Sea and beyond. I am your host, Mark Kaler. And today we've got with us Captain Jake Albinio of the Cornelia Murray. How you doing today, Jake?
Not too bad. How are you doing?
Doing good, man. It's a beautiful day outside for once, as we've had some pretty crappy weather here lately. But Jake, where were you born, and how'd you first get around the fishing industry?
Well, I was born in Honolulu, Hawaii, and my dad was Coast Guard, so I was around the sea my whole life. And he ended up getting stationed in Tillamook, Oregon. We ended up moving out there for about 6 years, and then we moved from there down to Newport. And Newport, Oregon is a very prominent fishing town. So I ended up making a bunch of friends down there and had a bunch of fishing buddies, but I was a wrestler through high school, and I wanted to go to college and wrestle. So that's basically what I did. I went to Oregon State and wrestled for a couple of years and was like kind of sick of school already. But my father-in-law, Jamie Potter, decided that he wanted me to try fishing for a summer. And I went up on the Golden Pisces, did about a month, 2 months, and I hated it. Absolutely hated it. Got home, got my first paycheck, and was like, holy shit, you know. And went back to school for about a semester, realized I'm not going to make what I make fishing, so I dropped out of school and became a fisherman. And I went onto a boat called the
Wait, I want to stop you there.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the Golden Pisces. What was the first experience, and what drove you to hate it?
Everything. Being away from home, being away from my girlfriend at the time, now my wife. I went from like being an athlete and very active person to being stuck on a 80-foot boat, and that was really hard for me to accept, you know. And not only that, I wasn't used to the weather. I got seasick all the time. Wasn't used to answering to someone that had full control of everything that I did, you know. But like I said, though, when I got home, I was like, dude, screw fishing. And I got my paycheck and was like, damn, this is where it's at.
Tell me what to do.
Yeah, you can tell me do whatever, man. I'll do it.
All right, so where'd you go from the Golden Pisces?
So from the Golden Pisces, I ended up, I tried to go back to school for a little bit, and it just didn't work out. I didn't really have a plan. I was just wasting money on school. So I ended up going on the Seeker with Jim Casper. And I went out and did cod for a season, and then I went down to the Oregon coast from here, and I ended up doing hake. And I did hake for a season, and was like, the Seekers are really not for me. And the next year, I went to the Excalibur and started dungey fishing. And that was about 3 months long. And then I went back to the Seeker because I knew I was making money there. And I was on the Seeker for maybe 3 years. And after 3 years, I got the call from Trident and ended up on the Gladiator. And that was with Ed French and Buck Graham. But I went on the Gladiator, and that's when I really started making money and really started making a career out of fishing.
And that was Pollock.
Pollock and cod.
Pollock and cod. What year was it when you first started? Just so we can kind of age you a little bit.
2001 was the first year I started fishing.
Mm-hmm. So 21 years now.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Gladiator. How was that experience?
Gladiator was fun. Big boat. Everyone on the boat was really easy to get along with. I love, Brandon Kellogg. Yeah, he was like one of my best friends on there. We used to fight like brothers. I mean, we throw potatoes and shit at each other, and we'd raise hell. but young, dumb. But it was a lot of fun, and I made a lot of money. And that was when you'd go out and do your pollock, and you come back in May, and you get your retro check and your road check. And that was the first time I experienced a road retro check. And I was like, damn, dude, even more money.
Didn't know it was coming, just kind of a bonus.
I had no idea what road was.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got my first road check, and it was like $34,000. So I was sold.
Mm-hmm. How long were you on the Gladiator?
I was on the Gladiator for about close to 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went from there and chased my dream of being a professional MMA fighter. And I fought full time for about a year. It does not pay the bills, so I had to go back to fishing part time as well. So I went to a boat called the Epic Explorer. It used to be the Nordic Viking, and then it ran aground out in Adak. They overhauled the boat. B&M bought it and became the Epic Explorer. I was on there for about 2 years, and just wasn't making money. Finally, I called Jim McManus. I tried it and said, I'm in desperate need of a good boat. Can you get me somewhere? And he's like, well, right now we're all crewed up, but I'll call you first boat I find out. And that was when Jeff Fries called me on the Viking Explorer, and I ended up going over there for 10 years. Was chief engineer over there for 10 years.
It's a great boat.
Awesome boat. They just retired it. And
yeah.
That was kind of sad to see. Actually, really sad to see.
Well, we all get retired at some point.
Yeah, we did. But cool thing is Jeff just retired, and shortly after his retirement, they retired the VE. So
yeah,
and he was on there for almost 40 years.
Just the sense that the last time you and I spoke, you were chief engineer. Today, you're a captain, and I think that's credited to a lot of the guys that we've grown up with in the industry. They're now growing out. They're retiring. A lot of our fleet up here is aged. Would you agree to that?
Yeah. No, a lot of guys are moving out, and a lot of the guys that I grew up with, they're moving up.
Mm-hmm.
And sad to see, but I'm also glad that I got to experience it with these guys like Ed French, my father-in-law. There's another one just retired. Big name out here. Can't think of his name. But anyways, yeah. So these guys, they're like
Craig Jensen.
These
just retired.
Yeah, they're like the baddest of the bad captains. These guys, you slept when they're driving the boat. You slept just fine. No worries at all.
Mm.
But now I kind of feel where they were at, when they first started, and why you get gray so fast, because it's stressful.
When did you get handed your keys?
Well,
how did that come about?
So I went to.
Wait, we're not even there yet, because you did 10 years on the VE, Viking Explorer.
Yep.
And then where did you go from there?
So I went from the VE.
We should stay in the order.
Yeah. So I was on the VE, and we were shutting down. We're shutting the boat, tying it up in Carl Moses. It was, I remember it was October 13th. And Casey McManus and Josh Harris knew that we were done. And they just had a guy quit. And they knew I was a crabber as well. So they came over and tried to recruit me to come over and do red crab. I was like, dude, I'm going home. Screw this. And he's all, well, at least just ask your wife to make sure it's okay if you can stay. And I was like, dude, I want to go home. He's like, all right, well. I was like, you know what? Let me call her and ask. I knew she was going to say no. At least I thought she was going to say no. And then she was like, well, we kind of need the money right now. And I was like, son of a bitch. So I stayed. And I ended up, I went out and did red crab with them and made some good coin. And it was on the Deadliest Catch as well. So they also paid for the show. So I was like, all right, well, double dip. And that year was like the most money I ever made, because I crabbed and I drawled. And that's when I started really starting to crab, or think about crabbing as well. but it was a lot of time away from home. I'm talking 316 days away from at sea. So that was kind of wearing on me. And then after the second year of that, me and my wife kind of talking, and I decided to get my 100-ton. And I went down to Florida and got my 100-ton Masters. And from there, came home, and the crab just disappeared. Well, it didn't disappear. It just the state said we're not going to open anything up this year, except for Western Paradise. Western Paradise, that's a shit show. You don't catch Western Paradise. But Opie's was gone. We went from doing 1 million pounds to 60,000, and then no red crab. And so I called Roger Thomas. He's one of the owners of the Cornelia Marine, and said, "Hey, I think I'm gonna go down to the Gulf and run crew boat down there for a little bit." And he said, "Okay, well, that'd probably be smart. Split the money up amongst the rest of the guys. We're going to go shorthanded. 60,000 pounds is like that's one tank, that's one string, Opie fishing." So I ended up going down to the Gulf and running a crew boat down there. Did 22 knots, had 6 main engines, bow thruster. It was a pretty cool experience, but it's something I don't want to do again.
What did you say running a crew boat? What do you mean by a crew boat?
So a crew boat it's a FSV, a fast supply vessel, and they're made of aluminum, and they have a ton of horsepower. And they're pretty big. The one I ran was 165 foot, and got on step, just like these bay boats. And what we would do is we would pick up crew from the dock and supplies, gear, whatever they need out of the oil rig, and then we would haul all them and the gear out to the oil rig, and then offload it at the crane stations, and then we haul back in. But usually we take crew and broken gear or whatever they don't need on the oil rig with us back to the dock, and we just run back and forth. Sometimes make 2 trips a day.
What didn't you like about it?
You make like $325 a day.
Oh,
and it's a lot of paperwork, and it wasn't for me. If 100-ton captain down there, you're not making money. But once you start upgrading to 1,600-ton, which you did 1,600-ton inspected, you start making some good bucks. But 100-ton captains, you don't make jack shit.
okay. So after that?
So after that, I came home, and I think it was around May. I got a call from Roger and said, "Hey, do you want to go to the bay?" And the captain, Dustin Landrum, he needed to go home early, so he was going to line me up to run the boat for Prince William Sound. So I came up and chiefed for the bay, and then went from the bay to Prince William Sound, and that's where Dusty handed me the keys and said, "Good luck." And I basically sat on anchor for 3 weeks. That's all I did. That was my first contract. And then we took the boat from Prince William Sound back to Dutch, and then rigged it up for cod and pollock and just tendering. And I ended up doing a little bit of cod tendering out at St. Paul and St. George, and then we went and did cross dock and Sandpoint for pollock. And then I tied the boat up and went home. Now I'm back again.
Now you're back hauling pollock.
Hauling pollock, yep, 620 fish. I'm going to Sutwick. I got about a 42-hour run, and just doing 2 boats. That's all I can hold, 600,000.
You enjoying the experience?
Yeah. I love being at sea. I'm good at it. I'm good at my job. After 20 years, I should be good at my job. But I wasn't.
What about the change in how you feel about the boat when you're the person responsible for everyone on it?
You lose a lot.
Do you feel that way?
Yeah, it's so Casey is an amazing captain, and working under him, he was very good at his job, and I didn't worry about anything. Dusty during the summer when he run it, he's probably one of the most gifted captains I've ever worked with, and I learned a lot from that guy. He's a great mentor, and I really wish to work with him again someday. But he's amongst some of the guys that are moving out in the industry. It's kind of sad to see people like him go because they're great mentors. He's a Dusty's a godsend for the fishing industry up here. He knows everything, and he's a 1,600 ton inspected captain, and along with that, he's got his DDE Unlimited. So there's not a lot of guys in the U.S. that have that. I think there's only 4.
Why don't you explain that to us?
So
A lot of our listeners don't know.
What those are. So in order to get a 1,600 ton Masters, you have to take, it's about 3 months of courses, but amongst that you have to have sea time, and it's something, I think a 1,600 ton you need 720 days of sea time on a vessel that size, and you also have to take ARPA, radar, GMDSS, SCCW, Advanced Firefighting. There's Celestial. Celestial is 11
Celestial
days.
Navigation.
Yeah, 11 days alone, $3,000. So you're talking like 20 grand in just classes.
And that's to be smart enough to get it all right the first time, right?
Yeah, and that's just his master side. And then the guy's got a DDD, or DDE Unlimited, which is a designated duty engineer. So he can run any vessel at any horsepower in the world, as long as it's not steam powered or turbine powered. But yeah, he's gifted and he knows his stuff. So it was a pleasure to work underneath him.
Okay. So after 21 years, I know you've had some good and bad times, right? Let's talk about a couple of the bad times. I mean, what was the scariest you've ever been at sea?
Oh man.
Can you pick that point out?
I'll tell you about one of the scariest times on the Gladiator, and we were on a crossing, and we got about 800 miles from land, and I remember it like it was yesterday. It was an easterly, a northeasterly, and a southeast. It was coming from all directions, but it was at least 40 foot, and we're out in the middle. Gladiator's a big boat; it can handle a lot, but it didn't help that seeing the other guys on the boat that had as much experience as I do now, back then were, white as ghosts. And it was pretty nasty for about 2 days. And old Brandon Kellogg, he was freaking seasick to the bone. But yeah, that was probably some of the biggest seas I've ever seen. And then the scariest I've ever been in my life on a fishing vessel was on the Epic Explorer. That boat, I just didn't trust the boat. A lot of people have heard about benders, a lot of people haven't, but the nickname for a bender is Bender Over, because a lot of them roll over, And the Golden Pisces, that was one of the first boats I worked on, that was a bender. There was 24 of those made and only 8 floating today. So
I think all the 8 floating have been modified.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, yep. They've all been modified. But the ones that haven't, they're at the bottom now, they went from the Gulf straight up here. No modifications, nothing.
Sponsons.
Nothing, yeah.
So what was the scary part of being on it? It wasn't just because it was a bender, right?
No, it was, we were going from Sandpoint to Akutan. And I remember coming up on the pass, I was driving, and it started getting pretty lumpy. And I knew the wind was going to kick up. It's going to go easterly, like 60. And we're trying to beat the weather, go across the pass. And right when we got to Seal Cave on the south side of Unimac, I mean, it was screaming. It was doing about 80 knots sustained easterly. And we had a 4.5 knot ebb coming through Unimac Pass. And the two combined, when you have opposing current and wind, it stacks them straight up. And it wasn't the biggest seas I've seen, but it was like crossing a bar. And we turned around, went straight into it for however long it took. It was about 6 hours, I want to say. We jogged, and we were pointing straight east, doing about a 1/2 knot south. And all of us were scared. We're all up in the wheelhouse. We just didn't trust the boat. There were so many issues with it. We had electrical issues. The back tank wasn't sealing right, so whenever we take weather off the stern, it would flood that back tank. And I think after that storm, we had like half a tank full, so our back tank was super slack. And we're all white as ghosts during that time. But Yeah, I remember that. But as soon as we got to the dock, we got to Akitan, all of us got off. We're like kissing the ground. Like, dude, screw this boat. We just didn't trust it.
What about your favorite time?
Ooh. I'm kind of weirdo, so I like to be in pain.
MMA fighter, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
Hit me.
yeah, I've been beat up over my journey, but nothing beat me up more than Opie's 2021. I was a broken man after that, and but after it was all said and done, it was a pat on the back. You know, you guys just did 1 million pounds of Opies in 3 months, and the amount of beating that we took on deck, breaking ice every morning, breaking ice every night, hauling we did probably about 120 pots a day is all we could do because the weather sucked. And not only that, we had so much crab in the pots, it would take at least 5 minutes to sort every pot. And then, but that was probably my favorite time ever. And the camaraderie on the Cornelia Marie, the guys on that boat, they're like my brothers. I love them to death, all of them. And it probably wouldn't have been as fun if I wouldn't have had those guys on there. But having my chief on there, Taylor Jensen, Matt Simpson, Christian Torgola, and Kabai he's from Hawaii, little Hawaiian boy, and then Casey and Josh and Ross. It was a lot of fun, and it was hard work though, a lot of work.
Not all just TV, huh?
No, not all TV. We forget about the TV, and some of the cameramen they would put their cameras down and come and help us, push the hooks or whatever. And there was only one time I was really pissed off by the camera guy, and he I turned around and climbed off the stack, turned around, and I started running towards the crane station, and my dumbass forgot there was a hatch open, putting crab down it, and I went straight in the tank, and I went up to my neck, so I was soaked. And as soon as I jumped out of the tank, AJ, one of the cameramen, he's standing like from me to you away, so he got everything. And I knew if I said something, they would have to they couldn't really play it. So I was like, "Fucking cut, AJ," and so they didn't play it. But thank God, because I looked like a jackass going in there. I literally jumped off the stack, turned around, started skipping back like a little fairy, and just went right in the tank. They're just like, "Ooh, what the hell?"
It's amazing how some of your best times can be the most painful or the most, especially they're not the best times when you're living them. They're the best times when you're remembering them.
When you're living them.
You think?
Yeah, because when you're living, dude, you're going to remember that day for the rest of your life.
Uh-huh.
And I just love the accomplishment. You do like a project or something at home, and it comes out just like you dreamed about it. It's a pat on the back. You remember that for the rest of your life. It's the same thing with like the work you do up here. Even though it's not your boat, when you accomplish something, it's just like, wow, dude, I did that.
Mm-hmm.
And even with the trawlers I worked on, it's much easier work, but you do something right and 100%, that's a pat on the back. You get to carry that around with you for the rest of your life.
Where do you see yourself going from here?
So from here, I would really like to. I'm really, really fingers crossed, dude, that crab comes back.
Yeah.
If crab comes back,
you and me both. I'm the Bering Sea fleet manager, and I can't for crabbing. I can't get any crab.
Yeah. Well, it's been shut down for 2 years. Red crab should be back. I'm really banking that it's gonna be back this year. I think it is. So I think red crab will be back. I heard Eastern Barradie open back up. We have a lot of that quota. And then Opies has got to be back, man. It's got to be back. Those brown carp guys, they're getting paid some big bucks now because there's no crab. No Opies, no red. So they're getting 10 times the price they normally get?
This probably won't get swallowed well, but overall in the world market, Alaska's crab production is not a lot.
No.
It's unfortunate because we are a sustainable, healthy fishery, right? Until they say we didn't have any crab, but the world doesn't see it. We see it.
Yeah.
But in the scope of things, the crab that's produced out of Alaska, we think because we don't have a fishery, it's a world problem, but it's not. It's definitely an Alaska problem.
Yeah. There's a lot of factors that go into that, but I don't know if I should get into that.
Well, I'm just saying of the market, the world market.
Yeah.
We're not a big share of it.
No. And we're the most frowned upon. Not just frowned upon. We have the most rules.
We have a lot of rules.
Yeah. And I mean, like you said, sustainability, that's a lot of people don't realize that we want to come back up here next year. Because if we don't, we can't feed our families. So my whole plan is to have a career out of this.
Yeah.
I don't want to overfish this. I don't want anyone else to do that. And 99.9% of the guys up here, that's their plan, is to have a career.
I think you're right. I think everybody wants it. If we need to sit for a minute, we sit for a minute and let them come back and go. We're hoping the red crab's back this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's other places that don't look at it that way.
Yep.
Other countries. I wished Americans bought American product.
Yeah.
A lot of people do buy the wild from Alaska. Some don't. Some don't even know where the crab they're eating came from.
Yeah. It's kind of sad. I mean, that the red crab that they're selling right now, it's got to have been Russian or Norwegian or something else because we don't have it. It's been 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Well, if you were done fishing today, right, what do you think fishing has given you, and would you do it again?
I would start over as a crabber. Trolling, you make a lot of money, but it's anybody that's trawled knows trolling. It's just I'm a busybody. Like I said, I like to pat myself on the back after a season's done. It's hard work. Granted, I've knocked a lot of years off my life hauling pots, and but not a lot of people can do it. There's probably 0.0001% of the population on the planet that can actually do this job. There's a lot of people that see it on TV, like, oh man, I can go up there and do that. No, you can't. You could probably do it for a pot or two, but you can't. A lot of people can't keep the pace, and that was the amazing thing about Casey and Josh. They set a pace, and they expect you to keep that pace. And I mean, a lot of guys, they're just ramming pots in our throat, and then after that string, they're like, hey, holy shit, dude, we just filled up 2 tanks or a tank. It's like, well, we're getting it done. We're making money. They're making us money. So the last thing I did was complain, not just do. And if I could go back and do it again, I would have just been on the crabber. And I just love the work, man. And it's more of a camaraderie. Trolling, you got a lot of time on your hands. The guys start getting bitchy and picking at each other, and it just gets longer seasons. 5 months. 5 months is bee season. That's too long. It's just way too long. So it was like I looked at the trawlers like it's kind of like a high school. You get cliques, right? And they always fight. You get your nerds, you get your cool studs, your athletes, and all that. And that's how I kind of pictured it. But I kept it myself. I rarely went and visited other boats. Just kept on my boat, and I go see my pops once in a while, on the Dominator. But I stayed on my boat and just worked. So you seen the VE?
Mm-hmm.
Been down the engine room on that thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks like a yacht. It's 'cause we took very good care of it. But
I've been in the VE engine room with you.
yeah. So I mean that thing was shining all the time because I stayed on the boat and I just worked, just slaved there. But that's what I like to do. I get an idea in my head. Oh, I want this to look all nice and shiny today. Yeah, well, it'd take most people like 3 days to do it. It'd take me one, because I don't know if you know me that well, but I love energy drinks and candy, and I get after it.
To prove that, guys, he showed up today with a couple energy drinks in a bag, just for the chat. But Jake, if you had any advice for young guys, you're starting with where you started, or when you started, high school or college, just trying to earn that money to pay for college and whatnot. What advice would you give to someone looking to get in here?
If you're gonna get into fishing, you need to commit 100%, and listen. The problem with the guys you have today, they don't listen. You get a lot of I don't know what it is about this. The younger generation, they got this stick in their ass, thinking that they know everything, and it creates a bind on the boat. My first trip on the boat, or my first what do you call it, contract running the boat. I had a deckhand on there that he was a pain in the ass, but like a big boy, got rid of him. But I realized that a lot of these guys are like that now. They come up here and they expect to just make all this money, and they're calling the shots. It's like, no, there's a hierarchy on here for a reason. You have the captain, the chief, and then you're the bottom bitch. That's it. You do whatever you do what they say. That's bottom line. And you're here to learn, and you're here to, most of all, make money. And my biggest thing is, when you're up here, work your ass off, but have a lot of fun. Because if you're not having if you have that one bad apple, or you have that just that guy that doesn't do his job, it kind of makes everyone else, the camaraderie, just drop, and everyone just starts bitching, and time just goes super slow. But when you're having fun, you're laughing and giggling, eating all the cookies and grinding away, dude, you get done, or you get it done. It's just, it goes so much faster. So a good attitude, bring a really good attitude to the boat, and just listen. That's it. I mean, we can make grinders out of not grinders. We can make workers out of people that not used to it. They just got to be taught, how to. And your body can actually go a lot further than your mind can. You're going to break mentally. In crabbing industry, you're going to break mentally at some point. But you got to remember, your body's you can push your body through a lot further.
Any final words for us? Anything you want to say?
Oh, geez, I don't know. I love fishing. I love this. I mean, I love my family a lot more, but this is something that I'm gonna be doing till I can't. I'm old in the bones, can't do it no more. So I'm probably in this until I'm at least 65, and I just hope my body can keep up, because I know I've been rough on it over the years.
Will you make it go further than your mind does?
Yeah. If they make a boat wheelchair accessible, I'll be longer.
All right, Jake. It's a pleasure to have you on today, and that's it.
That's it.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Galley Stories. We hope you like what the net brought in. Please leave us a review on iTunes. Whether you like it or not, we're not fishing for compliments. Look us up on Facebook and Twitter too, and reach out to us at galleystories@gmail.com.